Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We have finally made it. We are live here for the first time here on Mount Schmoedown. For anyone that has not watched our show before, just a quick summary. We go through and we try to give notice to competitors that not a lot of people are talking about, but still have a impact on the league of the Schmoedown. We have done this will be our 7th episode. So if you want to go back and watch, we've done Whitwer, we've done Makuga, Dewberry. There's a lot
Scott
of
Mance, Whitwer, most recently Scrimshaw, and Jeremy Johns. So
we've done a lot of competitors that if you're a longtime fan of the Schmoedown, you know who they are. Maybe you've forgotten about them because they've not been in the league here in a while. But we have a unique person we are talking about today. All I have to say is Video Drew. That's all I have to say. I say the name Video Drew. Everyone knows exactly who that person is. Ryan, lovely costume. You can do the entire show without being able to see?
Well, I can technically see it's going to be a little hazy here, but I can be able to manage. I mean, look, even though it was Halloween and I just saw the irony there, I'm like, put together like an elaborate costume or just do something simple. And of course, I woke up late. And so I'm like, you know what? Let's just do just like with Daredevil, the bare necessities, and we can keep going.
Speaking of Video Drew, she is there in the chat. Video Drew, thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you appreciate what we're doing. It's always great to see the person we're talking about there in the chat. But Ryan, you're a part of Video Drew's Patreon. Just give your thoughts on why you love Video Drew.
Oh, I'll definitely keep this short. I love Video Drew because she is a real great. She's a true breath of fresh air in the Schmoedown. Because when I came into the Schmoedown, it was really gearing towards more of the sports aspect, and I don't blame that. I mean, the movie trivia knowledge was there. It's becoming a true mental sport of the game. But what I loved was the characters that everybody who played got to show their personality, got to show their creative side. So when Video Drew came in, that debut match, it was like I was stunned at first, didn't know what to think of her. And then later on, that her role in running the team's tournament, I'm like, I immediately just latched on, and I did not. I wanted to keep following her, wanted to keep playing with. I wanted to keep watching her. I would have loved to have seen her play in every version of an exhibition match or any match that came off because she was so great. Her improv was awesome. Her strength of character and how committed she was to her character was a breath of fresh air and made the matches more enjoyable to watch. And it gave a great sense of fun, especially how she played off of anyone she was interviewing with, or like Jen Sturger, or just with the host, whoever was on the hosting chair.
It was at the desk, yeah.
But ultimately she has fun, and signing up for a Patreon, I have not regretted it ever since. I mean, it's always great seeing her with her shows or whenever she wants, just for her to have fun and hearing the knowledge and stories that she says. Oh God, I mean, it's too much for me to say, but it was just like Video Drew was like my top 5 Schmoedown competitors I would love to meet in person, and of course follow and be on and sign to their Patreon.
Yeah. To be honest, I gotta say, first time I saw her, I didn't get the character. I'm gonna be honest. I watched it like casually. I'm like, what is I don't to be honest, I thought it was a little bit weird and awkward. So I'm like, I don't get this. But then I went back and rewatched the matches, and then I understood it. I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. This is why I didn't judge it completely, because I'd seen it in bits and pieces, so I didn't really fully understand it. Go back and watch it. I love it. Definitely, for me, she is top 5 best character work currently in the Schmoedown. Like you said, she just has fun in her matches. She is special there. Ben, your thoughts on Video Drew.
I mean, what can I say? You guys said it. Her character work is amazing, and her talent is getting better and better with every match she plays. She is one of my favorite characters, and she's becoming a really great and reliable player in the league.
Yeah, definitely. To be honest, I just wish that we could see more. It's just the way this year went down. We definitely were not able to get as many of the competitors that we would normally see. Normally, we have a lot of singles matches. Just due to everything going on, everything had to go put onto StreamYard, and it just did not work out very well. But it was always great. Jordan, exactly. It's the right mix of creepy and weird. Yeah. It's just it works.
She's an enigma, and not just like a mystery that you can't solve, but it's like a mystery you can't. Like, you don't want to end, honestly. Just like her character works. I mean, she has her own little way of speaking, like a broken dialect that just leaves you confused. But then, like on rewatch, you watch, especially in the post interviews, it's just like at first she's all happy talking, like I'm glad to be here and it's great. And then sooner or later in my talking, I will drop. Get serious, and then get back up and talk, because nothing is endless when it comes with Video Drew.
Yeah, it is unique. Leo, great point. Mike Carlson vibes.
Well, the answer, man.
Video Drew says
the third
it's
person,
so great. It's so great. It always makes me chuck. Like after watching the first match, I'm like, I love this. This is so great, so funny. And then every match after that, I'm like, all right, let's see what she can come up with there. She does know her movies. There is no doubt about it. Video Drew has the knowledge, and definitely her character work, like I said, is top tier for me. Top 5 currently in the Schmoedown. But let's kind of start our breakdown there. She's had a plethora of matches so far. She was actually quite busy in season 6. Season 7, not so much. She's only had 2 matches, 1 team and 1 singles matches.
Yes.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of competitors that did not get as many matches they wanted this season. Her first match in season 6 was against Brendan the Kid Meyer.
An early Brendan Meyer.
Yes.
Yeah.
This was just after he had his coming out party in Free For All 3. Yeah. He went a lot of rounds in that match. He wasn't cleared. He didn't get cleared at the table when Bibiani won, but he was like halfway before the free for all was over. Brendan at the time before it cut to like numbers 27 or 26. Video Drew says there's no character. It's just Video Drew.
Yeah. Video Drew is
Video Drew. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, this was Video Drew's first match. She went 5 of 10 though in round 1. So again, it's not a bad first round, but when your opponent goes 9 of 10, it's a very deep hill.
And I believe Brendan also got a perfect round in that match.
Yes, he did. Yes, yeah. That's how he got the 9 points. So she's down 9-5. Round 2, she spins Nicole Kidman. 4 questions. She goes multiple points on every single one.
I'm sorry, that slice needs to be in more Schmoedown matches. Nicole Kidman, she's a great actress. She's, oh my God, the list of movies she has there. But keep going.
Yeah, no. So then she has 4 questions. She goes 3 of 4. All 4 of her questions, she checks down to multiple choice, which is a lot of competitors, I feel, forget to do that. Like, they always try to guess the 2. I'm like, if you don't know, check down, because if your opponent steals, it's 1 point. Like, steals on 1s don't hurt you as much as a 2-point. That's a huge swing. Going from you miss it, they get it. That's 4-point swing right there. That makes round 3 a whole lot tougher for these competitors. Brendan actually stole her first question, so we got a 1-point steal on that one.
And Video Drew having to go multiple choice throughout round 2 showed some very good like awareness of the difficulty of the questions, because like you mentioned, even the vets who have doubt themselves or felt they had a gut feeling ends up changing their minds though. So with Video Drew, she shows like even it's her first match, even if Video Drew's first match, Video Drew had very strong veteran senses to go to multiple choice. Unsure of a question, Video Drew went there and it served her very well in that round. And I think one of the favorite nuggets of that round 2, after she gets her second question, Brendan just looks towards her and Video Drew just hisses at him like a cat.
Yeah, I was like, he's like, ugh. He's probably like,
even got Ken Naps. Like that was the best part. Having Ken and Alice, great comedians, just give you so much great reaction off of Video Drew, making Video Drew that much more of an enigma.
Yeah, and so Brendan misses 2 questions. So Video Drew has an opportunity for 2 steals. Fortunately, she does not get either one, but Brendan did not have the best round 2. He only got 4 points. So Video Drew is still in it. She's down 13-8 after 2 rounds. So she's right there. She has a good 3rd round. She can do very well. So round 3. Now we will go over this later. Her use of, she typically has a 4 or 5 numbers she typically goes through. So she went 13, 6, and 5. So number 13, she gets 90s. She gets it. Congrats there, Video Drew. Makes the score 13-10. Her 3-pointer, number 6, was Action Adventure.
Yes.
Which in round 1, throughout all of her matches, is not one of her strengths. Action Adventure for her, she's had 7 matches. She's only gotten Action Adventure twice in round 1. So,
but she was able to nail it this time in round. In this match.
Yes. And so in round 3, she's actually pretty good with Action Adventure. This was the only time she's had Action Adventure in the 3rd round. So she got that one. So now it's tied at 13. So since it's tied, it has to go back to Brendan to answer. So then he gets his 2-pointer.
His 2. Oh, the unfortunate flub of his 2-pointer. Look, we understand. Look, I don't want to cut here, but yeah, his 2-pointer, he ends up getting. Oh my God, it was a director's question, and I forgot the question. I forgot the question. Like who directed? God, what was the question? Because I know the answer to it, but his answer unfortunately was a flub. The answer, of course, was the one of Taika Waititi's films. Unfortunately, he answered.
Oh,
Taika. Yeah, Taika Waititi.
He pronounces it like not even close. I remember that. Like it's like Tiki Wakiti. Like it's.
He said
like,
Taika Waititi. He just didn't say the T. He didn't say Waititi. If he said Taika Waititi, then I'm pretty sure they would have given it to him.
So
but
the question: who directed 2016 Hunt for the Wilder People?
Yeah, Hunt. I was thinking Beast of No Nation kept popping up in my head. I'm like, he did not direct that. That's nowhere near his style.
I'm watching the clip real quick to see how he actually pronounces it. Taika Waititi. Taika Waititi is how he says Taika Waititi. I have no idea what this game was. Yeah, and to be honest, it is very evident that she was kind of feeling her way through that match because this was her first match. Yeah. And I said this during our pre-show. You could definitely tell that she wasn't quite sure the game part in this match. After this match, though, every match since that match, she is one of the top-tier gamers of the Schmoedown. Like, she plays the game extremely well. She knows how to navigate it. And so, again, I don't know if it was she went back and rewatched this match or she went back and watched other or all the Schmoedown matches up to that point. And then she truly understood the game of the Schmoedown because she, right now, you ask me, she is one of the top gamers in the Schmoedown. Like, she definitely knows it. So then he misses his 2. Yeah. Because he can't say Taika Waititi.
But he gets his 3, though.
Yeah. So then it goes back to Video Drew, and she gets comic book movies. Yeah. Now, this is a singles comic book movie, so it depending on the competitor, this 5-pointer you could say is a decent 5-pointer. Question is, who plays Constantine's cab driver and apprentice, Chaz Kramer?
Yeah.
For me personally, I am a big comic book inner geekdom. I knew this one right away.
Same here. I've watched Constantine a lot.
Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf. Or however.
No, you're not
you
saying it right.
It.
It's Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf. So unfortunately, she misses that. So then it goes back to Brendan for his 3-pointer, in which he gets it based on coming of age on who directed the Spectacular Now.
And you see he learned from Taika Waititi because then he made sure he correctly said the name right. John Ponsalt.
Yes, and this is not the last time Video Drew will be facing up against Brendan Meyer. She does face him again in teams, and we will be going down that road. So she ends up losing her first match, but there's some quick – the one thing I would take out of this match, she knocked herself out of TKO range. She made Brendan answer a question. And that right there, I feel, shows that a certain competitor, when they're down, they don't curl into a ball, Jeff Snyder, and kind of give up. So,
Video Drew of her debut, out of the debuts of season 6, Video Drew, I think, is the only debut that did not get knocked out, because other debuts was like David Moore against Kevin Smith, which he got knocked out. There was a Demi, I'm not going to butcher his last name, against Liz Shannon Miller, and he got knocked out. And so, and even Brendan Meyer, he even suffered a bit of a TKO against Paul Oyama. So showing that Video Drew was able to handle herself very well, being able to have the knowledge and luck of the question to not luck, but she had that moving knowledge strength to really save herself from TKO is a lot. And like you said, she improves even more. Like this match was pretty much Video Drew putting her foot into a witch's coven, but instead of taking a step back, she dives right head first, all in, and she gets better and better and better, and then brings in pretty much another Schmoedown treasure in Tom in their team's match against Loose Cannons.
Oh yeah. Leo, yeah. I don't know why they did that. They should have stayed on him because it was still tied. They should have had him answer his 3.
Yeah.
Now,
I think it was a mistake with Ellis, honestly.
Yeah. Again, it's just little things that aren't that big of a deal, but unfortunately, Drew loses her first match. But for me, the thing that I took away from this match is the fact that she was able to compose herself, not make sure she does not get a TKO. I think that is a underestimated skill for a lot of competitors. A lot of competitors, because she's down by 5 in the 3rd round, and you just think, you're like, there's no way I can win this match. I'd have to get all 3, and then he would have to basically miss 2 of the 3. So it's definitely, you're like, okay, I can do this. I got this. She almost does it. She makes sure he answers his question. Yeah. When you think Constantine, you think Keanu Reeves. Like, you don't actually think.
You forget Shia LaBeouf's in that. Or you even think of Peter Stormare as his role as Lucifer, honestly. Or Tilda Swinton, too. So, like, those are the 3 that pop in your head when you think of that movie. Shia LaBeouf. He's so far out of
there were some interesting quotes from this. She goes, does Video Drew have one more multiple choice? I thought that was kind of funny. She does end up using all 3 of her JTEs in this match, which some people would say is a bad thing. I'm like, why? They don't carry over. So it's like timeouts in sports.
Yeah, none of this stuff resets every round.
You may as well use them.
Yeah, nothing resets each round. So it's just like, and even then, I even love in her promo in the beginning how she says, like, even though Video Drew, it's a singles match, Video Drew treated like, I'm gonna win this tournament, I'm gonna go in, win the tournament, and then I'm gonna rule over Schmoedown. So says Video Drew, and even more, like, she goes insane. My favorite bit of that was Video Drew's strengths are, besides everything, and then her weaknesses, political dramas, hot guys, and probably some stuff about director.
Yes, you think Peter Stormare and Tilda Swinton also. You don't think Shia LaBeouf. You do not think.
No.
So, also, I think one of my favorite quotes of this is, Video Drew's a huge Nicole Kidman fan, but was expecting other questions. Because, like, you think, like, these actor slices, these director slices, sometimes the questions they choose, you're like, yes, it's about that character, that actor's movie, but it's not about that actor. And that's, for me, it's misleading. Like, you're like, okay, I'm ready for a question about Nicole Kidman. It's like asking a Nicole Kidman question, like something from like Batman Forever, but it has nothing to do with.
Or having a Nicole Kidman question come from Far and Away, or Days of Thunder, or The Paperboy. You know, it's like two you have definitely seen, which is Days of Thunder, and then two the others is kind of like, huh, they're vaguely familiar to me.
Yeah. So.
And even with go ahead, Ben. You bring in your 2 cents. We've definitely been having this back and forth here. What you got?
And also asking about like the movie Australia she did with Hugh Jackman. Isn't that Kidman? Or am I thinking of
Australia?
Yeah.
That movie? Yeah. Oh, she was also in She was also in the movie version of The Golden Compass.
Yeah, let's not talk about that movie.
Everyone wants to talk about the HBO show.
So her next match is her team's debut, and we also get introduced to a beast in just Tom. We have to thank Video Drew because she brought in Tom to the league. She brought Tom into this league, and their chemistry. I love their team. I miss that team so much. I love the Looney Bin. I was so
Looney Bin had to reunite somehow.
I hope
it's possible next season. I mean,
I don't know if Kate will choose Tom as one of her 3.
I know
so he may be included in the draft. So maybe we'll get.
I think it may depend on Tom and Paul's performance in this
in the teams. Yeah, like if they go on a serious run, maybe her 3 are Tom, Paul, and Goddard.
Yeah,
well, maybe Drew goes to Kate. Can that happen?
It depends on drafting and trades, honestly, because anything can happen. Because when Drew got drafted this season, she got drafted to the Burning Drews, and then she got traded to the Dungeon. So, like, anything can happen especially when it comes to drafts and trades. I mean, when she got traded to the Dungeon, I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting. But then when Ken became the manager of the Burning Drews, I would have loved to have seen that back and forth with Ken and Video Drew. Just the insanity there. But even with this teams match, her Video Drew's improvement was there. Like, I was gonna say it, her game improvement was obviously there. She and Tom did a great job against loose cannons. They were in the lead when it got to round 3. Like, they swept round 2 of their category. They were in the lead like by 5
4. Yeah, so they were up 26-22 after round 2 against Loose Cannons, which is Paul Oyama and Eric Zipper.
Yep, that first time team as well. Both team debuts, actually.
Yes. So round 1, she gets 6 questions. Tom gets all of them. He does not get the bonus. So they're actually down by 1 after round 1, 15-14. They get modern classics.
Yep.
They sweep. They go 6 for 6. Now, the thing about teams is we don't know which competitor knows the answer and which one doesn't. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's Tom, so probably know all of those were Tom. We don't know. That's the thing with studio matches is we don't know which competitor actually knows the answer. Now, in the online format, we can definitely
we can tell, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because we get to see them chatting. I don't like it because it definitely gives away a lot about these competitors.
And the one thing I did like about the studio format is, like, yeah, teams confer because they are actually discussing the answer amongst themselves. Don't be fooled. Just because someone answers the question doesn't mean they immediately knew it. It's just more of, that's the thing I liked about the studio matches when it came with teams. They're conferring, really sharing each other, sharing knowledge with each other, really trying to work and use critical thinking to figure out what that answer is. That's why educated guesses that's why educated guesses are like a dangerous weapon when it's put in the hands of someone like Stacey Howard, Josh McCouga, Roca. Even with, Tom, I don't think he ever educated guess. He knows it, or in Tom fashion, he's watching outside of somebody's house of a movie to figure out the answer. And of course, even with Ethan Irwin, he's even pulled out some great guesses.
So we have some groundbreaking news. Video Drew actually knew that bonus question in round 1. So yeah. Yeah, I feel like a lot of time when they ask a bonus question, like one of the competitor, like the person that doesn't get the answer, probably knows the answer most likely. But unfortunately, they don't get that opportunity. So they sweep Modern Classics. They are up by 4 going into the final round. They choose numbers 6, 12, and 18, which corresponds to Cameron Diaz, new releases, and family films. Tom answers Cameron Diaz, gets it right. New releases is answered by Video Drew. Fortunately, she does not get it, and they do not get family films. So they end up losing 32-28, which...
And that's an impressive
You think you score over 25 points in a team's match. You're like, oh, they won.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Like, for me, I think, like, 20-25 in teams is like middle of the road. Like, you have to probably score close to 30 nowadays to win a team's match, which is insane. Who was Cinderella and Into the Woods? Oh, come on! Right?
Yes, like that is true, Rob. She does know her shit. And Jeff, the Paper Boy is the one where Nicole has that moment with Zac Efron.
So far through 2 matches, a lot of people would say, why is Video Drew in the Schmoedown? She's lost 2 matches. Barely lost, by the way. Barely lost. Records do not really show how good a competitor is. We have discussed that at length on our previous episodes. I mean, records do not dictate how a competitor is.
It's a performance, honestly, for me in my mind. You see the performance of somebody in the Schmoedown. It can, even if it's a vast division like singles or inner geekdom, you see them pull very well in the match, pull out some amazing questions. It shouldn't be a doubt in your mind why they come back. And Looney Bin lost in their match. But then we transition to the team's tournament. The list of teams they fought is 100% a reason, is without a doubt a reason why Video Drew belongs in the Schmoedown along with Tom. Even if they are separate, Video Drew still belongs here. Because their match against the Self-Righteous Brothers, a team in their first match during the Anarchy tournament against Take the Cannoli, it was an over 30-point score for both teams in that match. And the Self-Righteous Brothers still came down with a loss.
And that is a very good team in Whitney Seibold. Actually, two competitors that if you watched the Horror Free-For-All yesterday did really... Mark Hoyt and Whitney Seibold. They both did really well.
Yes.
So the fact that they end up winning this match, by the way. Video Drew, again, her round 1, she didn't have the best. But the thing with teams is you don't necessarily have to go perfect.
No. The goal is to stay on par with the opposite team, honestly. Yeah, you can be trailing down by 2 or 3 points, or heck, by a 5-point lead. But the best thing is afterwards, the round 2 will always dictate where the match is going to go. And even then, round 3 is definitely left up by chance, depending on what numbers, what kind of you get.
Jeff, also, skill and knowledge base goes far beyond the general metric.
Yeah.
Rob, this is exactly why I love the Schmoedown. If it was just answer, it's just bar trivia at that point. Like, there has to be something that adds to it. That's why the character work, the mixture of movie trivia, wrestling, that's what makes the Schmoedown so exciting to me.
And the storylines that's developed into smallish feuds. I mean, look, we want to talk about how good the damn Schmoedown is. I mean, if character is important, let us rewind during the time of the free agency when we got 2 of the biggest picks of the free agency picks in the Schmoedown. I have Kevin Smith and Chris Jericho. And then we forward a few weeks later, they get their match at a Schmoedown Throwdown. What is the undercard? Bateman versus Guy. Ben Bateman
which is just weird to think Guy Bateman match is a undercard.
knowing the history that these two men have in the Schmoedown, not just amongst their own fan base, but amongst the Schmoedown audience in general, when they came in as Team Action, their evolution, their breakup, that storyline build up to their match at Houston, regardless of how the match turned out to be. When you have two Schmoedown players of strong personality, great character work, and great interaction with everybody involved, you put those two together in a storyline that was just tied up so well, and then you bleed it into the fan base that even takes that and runs with it, really making memes, making posts. I mean, even in the early season 3 of the Schmoedown, they were using the fan base to hype up stuff, like with the memes of the week, of people just even talking about making predictions and polls way before the Facebook page was made up for the Schmoedown. The Schmoedown always had like a good give and take relationship with its fan base of its audience, especially with the Schmoedown players, and the characters was always there. It was there to feed into the matches. It was there to push the momentum, to make every match feel memorable. That's why every time we get a Nerd Chronic promo package, it's always a mixture of great moments of characters. Like either if it's Roka giving that giving that celebration scream of Drew McWeeny when he and Sam beat won that Iron Man match, or when you have moments of Mike Kalinowski breaking down after beating Smets or winning the Inner Geekdom title. When you
literally what happened against Team Action with DC Movie News is the reason we have the current KO today. That match.
Yes. And even with the Shire was when they won the team championships. And of course, with Clark Wolf saying that great line, there is no women's league. We are the league.
We are the league. There's no. That has got to be one of the best sound bites ever for the Schmoedown. Is Clark Wolf in that post?
This league is not just about knowledge. It is about characters. It is about its audience. It is about its players. And it's one of the reasons why with this show we highlight everyone who plays in this Schmoedown as much as we can. That's why Video Drew is an important part of this Schmoedown. Video Drew, even if you didn't know about her in season 6, if you came into season 7 brand new and you see her in her match with Rick Hung against the Real Rejects, that first match alone is a great introduction into Video Drew for you to rewatch her matches, see her evolution, see her evolve as a player, see her get better, see her great character works, her great interactions. And look, come on, time machine match. They call Janine the Machine a machine. Even they had like a little prop can of oil up there for Janine. Great use of comedy. Great use of comedy. Oh, go ahead, Ben. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Ryan kind of went on a rant there.
I'm out there. I mean, they're going to say that was a great match. The Looney Bin vs. Time Machine. I remember that. It was great. It was great to watch.
Yeah, definitely was. So, Self-Righteous Brothers, after round 1 is 13-12. So, Looney Bin is up because Tom is a beast. Tom goes perfect. He gets all 9. Yeah. Round 2, they get James Bond.
Ooh.
So they go 5 of 6. They missed their first one on multiple choice. It does get stolen by the Self-Righteous Brothers, but they get the rest of their points. So after round 2, they're down by 1, 24-23.
Mm-hmm.
Their numbers: 1, 2, 3, which corresponds to biopics, which is answered by Video Drew. She gets it. 3-pointer, comic book movies, gets it. Nicole Kidman. She gets her revenge on Nicole Kidman. She gets her revenge. And they get it. They get all 3. They end up winning 31-33. 33 points. That is a phenomenal match. That was simply amazing. So they win their first match in the 2019 Ultimate Schmoedown Tournament. They go on to face Time Machine, which is Ethan Big Time Irwin versus Janine the Machine. To Janine the Machine. We have talked about this already. Records do not indicate how good a competitor is. She is a prime example.
Yes, Janine the Machine is the best example. I mean, God, her match against Chance Ellison at New York is Still an amazing bout of two knowledgeable players head to head. Janine dressing up, going to the theme of Apollo Creed and from Rocky IV to the James Brown song "Living in America." If that does not tell you exactly of someone who is tuned into the Schmoedown, someone who lives and breathes the Schmoedown and came to fight, I mean, look, we all have our preferences. Well, we all have our favorite Schmoedown matches. We all do. We can't help that. And it changes each year. Just like with the singles tournament, it has given us instant classics after the next. And I believe we might see the same thing with the teams tournament.
Yeah. It was here's a good point. Vito Drew loves gaming out matches. No questions. No, not so much. Yeah, like I feel like if the Schmoedown was just answering movie trivia, it wouldn't be what it is right now. Like the reason the league has exploded to where it is because of Character Works.
Yep.
I'm not a big fan of this person, but without him, the Schmoedown is not what it is today. That is John the Outlaw Roca. Without the Outlaw, we don't have the Schmoedown now. Like I don't think the Schmoedown would have lasted as long if it's just people answering trivia.
Yeah. I mean, John Roca, he is definitely someone who's more of a one episode guy, and we will definitely get to him at some time in the future. But yeah, Roca, he took what Ellis,
unless we want to do like a 2-3 hour episode.
Yeah, I don't think we're up to that. I mean, we could do it, but it would be like going back and forth of his 50, 100 plus matches, and then talking about
he's like close to 50. Like he's had so many matches, but we will. This is not about John Roca. So
it's about Video
one.
Drew.
Yes. Again, Video Drew goes 4 of 8 in round one, but Tom goes perfect. So they're up 13-12 after round one. Round two, they get monster movies. They clear the board. They go perfect. I would love this would be a very deep dive and a long thing to do, but go back and look through if a competitor or a team goes perfect in round two, what's the winning percentage on that? Like that would be a really good stat to look back on. Everyone that's gone perfect in round two, what are their chances that they've won the match? I'm going to say it's pretty high. I'm going to say it's probably in the 80%, maybe a little bit lower than that, unless you go against someone who also went perfect in round two. That would also be another stat to look at. People that have both sides have gone perfect in round two. What are the odds on that? So they go perfect. They are up 25-24 after round two.
Yeah.
Round three, they go numbers 1, 6, and 13, which corresponds to Romance, Sandra Bullock, Modern Classics. Video Drew answers the 2-pointer, which is Romance, so they get that. Sandra Bullock, they do not get, but they do get Modern Classics. They end up winning the match, which is a huge win.
Yeah, that I would say is one of that team's tournament. That was definitely an upset at the time because Ethan Irwin in that season came off of losing his heavyweight championship to Dan Murrell, and this union between him and Janine was meant to be a new beginning, especially when they had beaten the Paddington 2 in a very close match as well. So knowing exactly where that was like heading, just seeing these two teams go head to head, and of course the banter back and forth are great. Not just them calling Janine an actual machine, but I think they even broke her a little bit. Like Janine's always a serious player when she gets to that ring. To see her,
she's like, what's going on the other side of that table?
Even with Ethan and Janine boys, like always be closing and ready to go. I believe this is also the same match where Drew said the famous line, "How do you spell cat, Christian?"
How do you spell cat? How do you spell cat? So they win that match, so they're now 2-0 in the Ultimate Schmoedown Team Tournament. Their next match is against the current team champion, by the way, Shazam. So Video Drew goes up again against Brendan the Kid Meyer, also against William the Beast Bibiani. This match is intense. This match was amazing. Video Drew only misses 2 questions. But Tom and Bibbs both go perfect. But that is not the thing we need to talk about. What we need to talk about in round one of this match is the challenge that Video Drew set in question number 7. in the category of horror thriller. She challenges the question because the answer, the question does not fit the category. Horror thriller it's about the movie American Psycho.
Yes.
I don't consider that horror, maybe thriller, but it's more of, and she challenges that she feels like it's not in the right category. She wins the challenge. So what happens is they ask the question, first person answers the question. She immediately challenges. She's like, no, this does not fit in this category. She challenges the question. Again, on the video, they come back within like 30 seconds. We don't know when they were filming it how long the actual review of the challenge was. They come back saying, okay, yes, you won the challenge. So what it was is they gave each competitor the choice to, they can answer the question that was asked, or they can have the opportunity to have a new question asked in that category.
But I think during that time, Video Drew waited until it got to her before she challenged. So at the time, I believe it was just because Bibbs, Tom, Bibbs and Tom answered that, or it was Tom, Bibbs, and then it got to her. I can't remember I know she was the only one who took the new question. And yeah, in that breakdown, I mean, with American Psycho, she did bring up some good valid points.
So the question is, what horror film stars Jared Leto, Willem Dafoe, and Christian Bale?
Yeah.
Oh.
And even with those three actors together, even if it's not Jared Leto, when you have Christian Bale and Willem Dafoe tied together, the educated guess is American Psycho. But then, of course, I mean, when you really look at it, I mean, look, depending on...
All right, so after that question, Brendan is the first one to answer. Brendan answers, and then she challenges the question, saying that it does not fit in that category. They come back and say it is crime. So, yes, it was miscategorized. So then they gave them the opportunity. You can take the question that was asked, or you can have another one. So Brendan, Tom, and Bibbs. Yeah, it says what horror film? American Psycho is not a horror film. Yes, it involves murder, which you could say is a horror aspect, but believe they state that on IMDb it's classified as crime. IMDb, it's classified as crime. So yes, it is miscategorized. So they give them the choice to either take that question or they can get another one asked. Like I said, 3 of the 4 decide we'll just take it because they got it right. So then they re-ask Video Drew another question. Is Gore Verbinski directed this 2002 horror film starring Naomi Watts? She gets it correct. So that was a successful use of a challenge.
Yes. Ben, so far, like on these breakdowns, rewatching the team's matches of the Looney Bin against Self-Righteous Brothers and Time Machine, just your general impression, our moment you thought really stuck out in your mind.
I mean, personally, I just love all the players' reactions to what is Video Drew. I mean, it's just getting better, but everyone's reaction towards her and her back and forth with people, like that interaction with Janine the Machine, I just think it's really entertaining to watch. That's my favorite part of watching Video Drew. She's getting better at the trivia part, but yeah, it's really fun to watch everyone's reactions to her.
Sure.
You know why? Because The Ring is a horror movie. That's why she got it right. That is true. Yeah. Like saying what category it is helps a lot. Because if they just ask the questions, I think that'd be a whole lot tougher.
Because
they kept it very vague. It would leave it takes a lot of brain power in order to figure out. Like if we did go in the realm of horror and we just go, what 2000 film stars Naomi Watts and Brian Cox? Like that's a lot to go off of because let's be honest, in The Ring, Brian Cox
in 15 seconds, by the way. You have 15 now. 15 seconds. If they did that and maybe expanded the time to maybe 20 to 25, maybe, but I like the fact that they say the category because if you just ask general trivia, there's I'd have to look back.
I mean, it would fall on the lines of bar
movies?
trivia most of the time. It kind of would fall on the lines of bar trivia. The difference with bar trivia is at least you have some time to answer before you want to go in on it.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
okay.
yeah. So both teams end up tied after round 1. Round 2, Looney Bin gets video game movies. So they get 5 of the questions right. 1 was on a multiple choice. They miss one. Unfortunately, it gets stolen.
Oh,
which was a huge.
Brian has a good point here, pulling up here that second time Harloff even challenged that on Sleepy Hollow during the Commish Bowl. So even Harloff is not at fault for even with that logic too, which is why I like the fact he accepted it, because he's like, I was in her shoes before. It's one of those situations that when you see with old matches.
I mean, Christian wasn't on the desk, but we all know Christian's at every match.
Yeah, he is literally there. If he's not on the desk, he is in the back in the control room with Cody and the others, looking at the video footage, making sure this stuff is prepared and ready to be sent to the editor.
Yeah, exactly. So after round 2, they're unfortunately down 24-27. Round 3, they go 6-13-12, which corresponds to thriller, animated, and biopics. Video Drew answers the 2-pointer. They get it. Animated goes to Tom. He gets it. Unfortunately, they don't get biopics, so they end up losing the score of 32-29. So their win streak of 2 ends. Their season ends there with that loss to Shazam, who ends up winning actually the 2019 Ultimate Schmoedown tournament where they faced the Founding Fathers at Spectacular. But that is the conclusion of Season 6 for Video Drew. Doesn't necessarily start the best. Loses her first match singles against Brendan Meyer. Loses her first teams match against Lewis Cannons. But goes on a 2-game win streak. They're at very good momentum. So they both... Her and Tom felt really good going into next season. Unfortunately, we had the nuke. The nuke completely changed the league. Everyone is in the draft. You may get your same teammate, you may not. Unfortunately, she does not.
Unfortunately, they just weren't a top 5 team, so they couldn't be protected.
Yeah, they were not a protected team. So, Video Drew ends up being drafted to the Burning Droogs. Her first match of 2020 Resident Evil because they're bad movies. They're bad movies. You're like, I don't want to rewatch this.
Yeah,
like that's got to be tough when you have to study and you're like, this movie is so bad.
Can I just look at clips on YouTube just to refresh my mind? I don't need to see the whole movie.
Right? I'm like, can I just get like the important parts there? So, her first match of the new era, season 7. Is team's match against Real Rejects, who is current.
Yeah, that was when
I'm almost positive
to the dungeon after the draft of the Burning Droogs.
Yes. So she gets teamed up with Rick Hahn, which I love the name Cuckoo's Mess. Not Cuckoo's Nest, Cuckoo's Mess. So it's still out there in terms of a team name and characters. Now, Rick Hahn is not on the level of a character as Tom, but it's still decent.
True. But I will be but I will say though, the breakup, I mean, of course at the draft, everyone knows the big breakup, of course, at the time was the Wildberries. But then of course, once that ended, you start seeing other teams that got broken up. At the time, temporarily, it was the Real Rejects before Coy made some draft picks to get Jonathan on his team. And then of course, Looney Bin was one of them. And Time Machine, they were broken up because they were freshly starting. And oh my God, the cutscene before the Cuckoo's Mess match with Video Drew just in the studio. Tom just shows up there and she treats it like it's, like it's that scene with it's like with Oya or Lash. It's like, no, you go, like Video Drew white bangs Tom. It's like, no, go away, get on out of here. You don't belong. I can't be with you anymore. But the funny thing was like Tom just sits there and just.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that because those movies are trash. So no, I don't think anyone can. And then Leo flexes and he does
I'm going to tell you, Drew, I rewatched at least 4 of the 6 Resident Evil movies. Yeah, it's not worth it. except for Retribution. I think it's the only good one.
Leo Logan is a sorcerer. Yeah, Leo is a beast. Leo knows his stuff. So, round 1 there. Video Drew almost goes perfect. She gets very close. She misses the question 7 horror thriller. So, they both go and get 7 points. Real rejects get 16, so they're down by 2. This match though, they struggled in round 2 with Denzel
Washington.
So they get question 1 and they go multiple choice on 4, 5, and 6. But they only get 5 and 6 on multiple choice. They miss questions 2, 3, 4. But they only get a 1 point. They only lose 1 point due to the 1 point still on question 4. Real rejects though do pretty well. They get 8 points there in round 2. So Cuckoo's Mess is down 18-24 after round 2. Round 3 they go 5, 1, and 3, which corresponds to animated, famous actors and actresses, and spy movies. Video Drew gets the 2-pointer with animated. Rick gets the 3-pointer with famous actors and actresses. They lose 23-24.
Yeah. And I believe, if we did put together a Video Drew's teams record, that's only the lowest scored teams match she's done. And even then, it was still a close game, honestly.
Yeah, I think before that, the lowest was like 25 or 26. So, yes, Brian does. Yeah, they did challenge the horror question because it was answered just it and not it.
Yeah, and that was a very strong ballot question, too. God, it was just like I remember in the theaters, like when the movie was over, it ends from going from It to It Chapter 1, teasing there was going to be a sequel. But even then, with the marketing posters behind it, the trailers, it was always called It until later it was renamed Chapter 1 after its theatrical release. So that challenge really did stand very well because if we are only going off of the trailer and marketing, then It alone is an acceptable answer instead of just like, no, we can only take we have to take It Chapter 1. No, you can take both.
Yeah, because it's been referred to as both names. So, unfortunately, she loses her match there.
Yeah, Ben?
No, I agree with you guys.
So,
no worries. But us also, Ben, I want to throw this out there with you guys. I know it was obvious Shazam was on a roll in that team's tournament. How fun would it have been if we had got to see the Looney Bin versus the Family in the finals? We saw how Guy was like he stepped out of character when it came with them going against the Wildberries. How would Guy have reacted with Video Drew and Tom in the same room? That I would have
3
money for that.
Tier characters in the Schmoedown. Andrew Guy, Video Drew, and Tom. Like that would have been. God, I want to see that match.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to see that too.
Yeah, McQueen may have been the only odd guy out in that one, but then of course with their manager being Burnett, he would have definitely complimented the Family as a team. But God, it would have just been amazing just to see the promo, the pre-interview segments, and then just them interacting on the table. It's just like a treasure trove of such good improv comedy coming off of all 3.
Brian, you aren't the only one on that. Like, I think everyone wants to see McCougar's reaction to Video Drew. Like,
Agreed.
We sort of got this in a exhibition match with the Patreon, but that was online, so the interaction is a little bit different than. Can you imagine at a live event or an in-studio match?
Well,
how the Wild Man would react to Video Drew.
Yeah, and technically this is not really a bit of a I mean, it can be a spoiler, honestly, but it was just the back and forth between Drew and Makuga was just amazing. That
it was.
I think regardless, Christian wants that kind of match to happen. And honestly, that would work.
That's why Makuga needs to win his retirement match against Dewberry, or else we're not going to get it.
I mean, it may not be actual match. But
yeah. Everyone, if you have not watched the rom-com exhibition, watch it. It's
oh, and also exhibitions. Video Drew during season 6. She was part of the first horror exhibition, and then also I think she was part of the first horror exhibition in there when I believe Bibiani.
I believe she was also a part of it this year too.
Yes. Like both, not just including the free for all, but both versions of the exhibition matches that were released on Patreon. So don't just watch the rom-coms. Watch both horror exhibition matches.
Yeah, if you can, you should watch every exhibition match on the Patreon. Let's be honest there. Like that is
the Patreon. They have compiled a list of all of their recent, all of not just the recent exhibitions, but even the past ones, including some of the even including Star Trek. Both Rocky exhibitions involving JT Dagnito and Dagnito and
the one that dropped I think last month, I believe is the one.
Oh, so you weren't in the first? I thought she was. Damn it! I guess that's just wish fulfillment. That's wish fulfillment.
You just wish she was. So we have one more match to go. Her last match in the 2020 singles Ultimate Schmoedown. In round 1, she faced up against Mark Yodi Riley, which coming up to this match, a lot of people were picking Video Drew for the upset. Everyone was all aboard the Video Drew hype train, mainly based on Riley's last couple of matches. He's not been the Yodi that we know.
Yeah, and it was heartbreaking though, because this honestly on paper is a great pairing. Video Drew and Mark Riley, both great horror experts, both great characters, both great showmen in a way. They know how to get the audience attention. They know how to really work within the realms of cameras, whether if it's in studio or if it's set up like what we're doing right here, which is the laptop. They know exactly how to work that. And of course, with the polls, they were going for Video Drew because it was that recent recency bias from the Who's the Boss match. To me, it didn't matter because if one thing proved that this singles tournament had definitely proved, there's no such thing as a sure bet. I mean, Upset City, but everything changed with the rise of Collins, with Liz Shannon Miller's performance, with even with some early on upsets with Tom beating Tim Franco, who at Team Franco at the time was an undefeated player in singles matches. Jeff Snyder being able to make that big comeback. Like there was and even the kid himself having an incredible run. With the singles tournament, it was true. And this was the only match I was kind of torn on. Every other match, I had a winner picked in my mind. I could not decide between Video Drew and Mark Riley. But then finally, I'm like, you know what? Get your head out of your ass. And I picked Video Drew.
Yeah. So, round 1, they go same. They both go 5 for 5. Round 2, she gets Mel Brooks. She gets her first, her second with the full 2 points. She checks down for questions 3 and 4.
Yeah. She
does not get her third one. She does get her fourth one. And she does get a 1-point steal on Mark Riley. So after round 2, score is 11-10. So Video Drew has the lead going into round 3. And fortunately, this is the downfall of the match for her. She goes 5, 1, and 8, which corresponds to Angelina Jolie, new releases, and Tarantino. She misses all 3. So she ends up losing 11-12.
Yeah.
Which is her final, I guess you could say, division match, because she was in the horror free-for-all yesterday, which she only lasts the 1 round.
I mean, even there's a lot of performances there in the horror free-for-all that it was just when you came in with the questions that popped up.
I mean, it doesn't help for anyone that had to go up with Collins and Mark Hoyk. Like you're just like, I'm in trouble. This is not fair. But that was all 7 of her matches. So we definitely saw a lot of good things there from Video Drew. There was also some things that we can definitely tell are not her strengths. So I did compile here. So if we're going just based on round 1, drama, she's 4-7. Fantasy sci-fi, 5-7. comedy 6 of 7. Those are her major strengths, you could say. The one she's had the most in. She's also comedy. She's 6 of 7. And yes, Leo, we do have. Yes, she is involved in the undercard against Jen Kemp.
Yeah,
and that is the I believe the final Schmoedown Throwdown, which will also include the Wildberries Civil War. So, and then we went over round 2 there. If we're just taking her personally, she did go 3 of 4 with Nicole Kidman and 3 of 4 with Mel Brooks. Now, her round 2 with Nicole Kidman, she checked down on the one she got right. So she went 3 of 4 there. So now this right here is for round 3. Her most commonly picked is 6, 1, 13, and 5. So she did 6 and 1 4 times throughout her matches. 13 and 5 she did 3 times. So you can definitely tell that there's a certain numbers she definitely prefers to pick. And what's interesting, out of all the times she's picked those numbers, there's only 2 categories she's gotten more than once. Animated, she's actually 2 of 2. New releases, she's 0 of 2. Everything else she's gotten at least once. So it is very interesting there to see how she does. It really shows that you can pick the same numbers and you're most likely not going to get the same one over and over. So it is very interesting there. So if we just look at stats-wise, her accuracy in singles is 57.5. Teams is 68.89. 0-2 in singles, 2-3 in teams. So if you combine, her accuracy is 64.10%.
And even then, with the accuracy, it still doesn't. It's even though it may play a bit of a factor into like how, if you want to predict how well she's going to do in a round, it still won't matter because with singles, because when we talked about Scrimshaw, he had a niche field in Star Wars to why he had such great accuracy. With singles, it is still a very wide genre. And if we had to go with baseball, if we had to compare like with sports and baseball statistics, I just watched Moneyball, so it's kind of like when you put the math together, it's not about how many doubles or how many times you hit the ball, how many doubles you hit, or how many home runs. It's about how many times you can get on base. And if you're gonna have someone if you're gonna be a manager picking a player in baseball terms, you want someone who can be able to get on base. And Video Drew is that person who can get on base because of those statistics of around accuracies that she has produced. And also, she is a very strong team player, which is not just with her work with Tom, with Rick Hong as well. So even if by next season, with the draft setting up, she and Rick Hong are not on the same faction, I still see Video Drew as a very solid team player, and I look forward to her match against Jen Kemp because this is also going to be a match where we're going to see 2 players because Jen, she's still pretty brand new. She only played a geek match. This is going to be her first singles match. So Drew's going to have the experience going into that undercard.
This is going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Oh, 100%.
It's a fun match. That's all.
This is going to be a fun throwdown, honestly. There are stakes involved. Sure, there's no titles on the line, but there's going to be stakes involved. So this is going to be a fun throwdown.
So let me ask you guys a question.
Yeah.
If Everett Josh wins, does Dewberry have to retire too?
I keep seeing mixed reactions on that. That's saying yes, but I've also seen ones where I think it's only Makuga who retires, so we'll have to wait.
Yeah, because even though it says retirement match, it was mainly Dewberry who threw it. But Dewberry did say in that promo only one Wildberry needs to remain.
Exactly. Yeah. 2 enter, 1 leaves. So we'll have to wait to find out to see. So out of all the matches she's had through round 1, she's had 56 questions asked. She's gotten 37. That is a 66%. Round 2, she's had 38 questions. She's got 31, 82%. That's a big jump there. Round 3, she's had 17 questions. She's got 9. So that's 53%. So it's not terrible, but depending on the match and the competitor, it may not result in a win. But
she's getting better and better.
Yes,
incredibly better as a player.
If you watch her match against Brendan Meyer and then her match, just her knowledge from season 6 to 7, for me, I noticed it right away. Just in that first match, like she had been studying since her first match. And each match, she was getting better.
If she continues to study, I can't wait to see what she's like in season 8.
Well, Video Drew will keep studying. I can definitely attest to that. I can testify.
I mean, it helps that she has her video chronic quiz with Nerd Chronic. She has cinema bias with Alex Mack. Like she's just watching movies. She's helped writing questions for the video chronic stuff. Like she's always doing something that basically takes the Schmoedown trivia part of her brain. She's always using it. She's always working that muscle because the brain is a muscle. So she's always using it.
Yeah, and
watch that, everyone. Next season, watch out for Video Drew.
Oh,
again, we do get her one more time, and it's the 13th, right? I believe the so
it's a Friday, so
2 weeks from yesterday. 2 weeks from yesterday, we will see Video Drew again against Jen Kemp. I'm very excited for that throwdown. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, and one thing I will also add on with Video Drew. Video Drew, not just as a strong player, but she's also one of the few people in Schmoedown who's still able to take a good aspect of the Schmoedown and be able to carry it with her into what she has with the Nerd Chronic quizzes with cinema bias. I mean, sure, there's other Schmoedown players that's doing stuff like that with Dan Merle and his All My Movies, but mostly it's just, I mean, I love all my movies, but it's mainly just Dan Merle going back on films he's already watched with other people. But with Video Drew, with cinema bias, she's doing experimentation. She's rewatching old movies, but at the same time watching new ones. So that muscle, she's gonna be very disciplined going into next season. Very disciplined.
I can't wait to see it.
And we'll have to wait to see what happens once the season ends before the draft.
One more theory, guys. We all know that this season she was managed by Kaiser, but say next season, who, and also people in the chat, who do you think Video Drew can be paired with? I mean, with a manager. Like, what manager other than Kaiser can you see her be paired with?
Who would?
Maybe Shannon.
You know who I would love to see? I would love to see it. Gucci.
Oh, God.
I would love to see that dynamic.
I can attest. In one of her in the dark show when she had Gucci on, they gel very well together.
Right? They got that chemistry down. Rafa, Video Drew will be her. Yeah, unfortunately, Christian has said no player managers. No player managers. Yeah, I think. Oh, Brian said Shannon? I never saw that coming. I never saw that coming.
I see it. I can see that. Easy.
Shannon did.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah. Brian is the corruption shill, so that was a hint of sarcasm. That brought.
But I will say,
even she says Video Drew. Even she says herself.
Video Drew is a horror story, and Video Drew is a self-entitled manager entity.
Exactly. So yeah, we'll definitely have to see there. Now, people in the chat, any suggestions as to who you want to see us cover maybe next week or in a future week? It really all depends on what you guys want to see us cover here going forward. We do have someone lined up in 2 weeks that is set in stone, which we will not reveal at this time. But we're just looking for suggestions. So if you want to either put it in the chat or after the video, leave it in the comments section, or go ahead and
to our Twitter.
Yeah, go to our Twitter, which is just Mount Schmoedown. You'll definitely want to. Yeah, no, I put the wrong overlay, so let me change that real quick.
Well,
there we go. Twitter.com/Mount Schmoedown.
Partially pointed.
So make sure to go ahead. If you're not, go ahead and follow us there. We always appreciate the comments there. Lon Harris, someone we've also considered.
Yes.
Partis, Ben and Drew. To be honest, that's gonna be like 4 episodes. Let's be honest. That, or it's gonna be like a 4-hour stream. Yeah, I can't. There are certain teams where that's not the Lambs. So great, Tom Harris. So yeah, Lon Harris would be a good one. Adam Lavick, yeah. Oh man, I've been following Adam Lavick since he was on Superhero News.
Oh, fuck
that. Not the team,
but just him alone, yeah.
But like his actual YouTube channel.
And even now, with oh my god, I'm forgetting the channel
Stacy, Barbarian, Mike, yeah, all really, really good ones there. So we'll definitely keep those in mind there. So it was a really great episode. Just love talking about Video Drew. Like it's just how would you describe Video Drew? Video Drew. You don't need to say anything else. Just say Video Drew there. Any parting thoughts today, fellas?
Ben?
It was fun. This was a really great first live episode. Thanks everyone for staying with us.
We really do appreciate everyone in the live chat. Definitely makes the show a little bit more fun. We can either go off on a tangent or just kind of get stuck on one thing and just chat about it. Make sure to go ahead and follow us on the show Twitter there down at the bottom below Ben. We also have our 3 corresponding Twitters there at the top. We always appreciate it. Also, any suggestions on what you want to see in the future on the show, go ahead and tweet at us. We are always looking to keep the show going very, very well and current and adding new things. And if you think of any other competitors you want us to cover, either leave in the comments on this video or go ahead and tweet at us. That way we can kind of add it to a list there and make sure that we get those competitors covered. Make sure to like the video if you haven't already. It really helps us out. Leave a comment as well. And also, if you have not subscribed, make sure to go ahead and do that. That way you don't miss any of our future videos. We will be live here going forward. This time, every Saturday, 12:15 Pacific. So make sure to go ahead and check us out. And if you can't check us out live, always appreciate everyone who can watch on a replay.
Yes.
Until next time, we'll see you guys next week.